Welcome back to another Front Office Rocks YouTube exclusive video. And we are jumping knee deep or feet deep or whatever you want to say into marketing. I have Jordan Rhodes here from Practice Multimedia, who's done a lot of advanced training for us on Front Office Rocks in marketing to focus on a topic that we get all the time from dentists of what should we be monitoring? How do we know if our marketing's working or not? So Jordan, thank you for doing another video for us on YouTube.
Of course,
Can you
happy to be
speak
here.
to that? I know you talk a lot with dentists now, so talk to us about what we should be monitoring in our dental offices.
Yeah. So I might get a little buzzwordy here. So if I do, you just got to interrupt me and jump in, and I'm happy to.
I will.
Kind of
Don't worry.
So the question is, what are a few things that we should be monitoring from a dental office in the digital marketing world? I think there's a lot of metrics in digital marketing. That's what makes it so different than like billboards and radio and TV. You get so many data points and so many metrics that you can sometimes just see too much, and it can kind of be like analysis paralysis where you don't even know what to track. So what I do with any client that I work with or any small business that I suggest these ideas to is implement what I call KPIs, or key performance indicators. So what are the things that you're going to track week to week to make sure that your digital marketing is being effective, to make sure that you were more effective this week than you were last week? So and you can kind of customize this however you want to do it. And for different clients that track different things, this is where you put, your cost per click and your cost per 1,000 impressions and your conversion rate and all those fancy metrics that come with digital marketing. But from an overview standpoint, what I try to track and what I suggest any small business track are, first off, your inbound traffic. So how many people do you have coming to your website every week? How many people do you have coming to your landing pages every week? How many phone calls do you have coming in every week? You can track that as well. So how much?
Okay, you just said a word. You just said a word that I know. Can you talk? What do you mean landing pages? Because that's something I don't think that's talked about a lot in dental.
Okay, good. So there's your website, which most people are familiar with. You have it, and it tells you all about your team and how to contact you, and has pictures of your office, all great stuff. But what a little bit more advanced marketers do is, for some campaigns, they'll create specific landing pages just for that campaign. So for example, if I'm running a Facebook ad in my local area promoting a free teeth whitening for people in Chicago, for new patients, let's say I'm in Chicago, instead of sending them to my website where there's 20 different pages and a lot of options and they can sometimes get lost, I would create a dedicated landing page that just says, sign up here for your free teeth whitening in Chicago. And it would just be focused on teeth whitening and why teeth whitening is so important and how valuable this can be for you. And it would have a spot for them to enter their name and their phone number and their email, and that's it. So there'd be no links to About Us. There'd be no links to our blog, just a dedicated landing page for someone to go with one focus so that we have a higher conversion rate, meaning we have a higher chance of getting them to sign up.
And that's what I was going to ask you. So then what happens with that? Because I know I understand this because you do this for us at Front Office Rocks, but if I was a dentist, why wouldn't I want them to go and see my team? And what would I do with this when they go to the landing page?
Yeah. So the reason why you don't want them to navigate around too much and send them to the homepage is because there's just too much information there. So sometimes leads can get lost. And I've tested this across hundreds of campaigns, sending traffic to a homepage or sending them to a landing page that's specific to the offer. And when you send them to the homepage, you always get a worse conversion rate, meaning less people sign up because there's too much stuff. They're going to read about you, then they're going to see you were the #1 dentist in your area in 2008. Well, who was the #1 dentist this year? And then they're going to open a new tab and they're going to search for that. So they're going to get lost in the weeds. So a landing page will keep it very specific to the offer and only let them enter their information. It won't let them jump off anywhere else. And once they enter their information, if you have it set up properly, then you can have that show up right in your email inbox or show up in your scheduler's email inbox, and then they can call and get them scheduled in.
Got it. Okay, good. Now you can move. So anything we're doing, when you're saying inbound, is anything we're doing that's getting people in the public to come to us. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So that's one data point I'd track. How much, traffic do we have coming in? How many calls do we have coming in? What's all coming in week to week? Because if that starts to, if the next week we do this and it's down 50%, now we have a problem because there's not enough coming into our marketing funnel. So after that, how many leads are generated from all this traffic? So there's a difference between someone coming to our website or calling us and actually being a good lead, meaning they left their contact information, they signed up for more information, or they signed up for a first appointment with you. Even when they call, sometimes they can call and they just have questions, or it's the wrong number or something like that. So I wouldn't count them as a good lead. So how many leads are you getting from this traffic week to week? Again, that's something we want to track every week, because if next week our traffic is the same, but we got half the amount of leads, we have to figure out what's going wrong. Is there a form on our website that's not working? What might be causing these leads to not convert? So that's the second data point I'd want to track. Then the third is the close rate of those leads. So again, start at the very top of the funnel, inbound traffic, then how many leads are we getting from all that traffic? And then how many of those leads are we closing? Because I've worked in this industry long enough to know that you don't close every lead that comes through. You'll get a lead, someone signs up for a free first session, but for whatever reason, they don't answer their phone, they don't answer their email, and they never come in. So you want to figure out week to week how many of these leads you're closing or getting to come in for their first session, because that's another area in digital marketing and to speak to what you offer in your practice that you can improve upon. Because if this week I get you 100 leads and you only close 5 of them, and then you learn something new, you learn how to call them and follow up and get them scheduled in, and now you get 30 of them to come in, now you just have this huge spike in your close rate and that many more leads from the same amount of marketing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and let me put this in dental perspective, because that's what we talk about. And the reason I'm doing these training videos with you is just because we think as dentists and dental team members, but let's think as business. I mean, a lead is a potential patient. It's somebody that sees something about you that picks up the phone to call your office. And then converting, like you're saying, signing up is a patient who actually schedules an appointment and shows up. And many times we're not thinking of marketing. We throw money at marketing and just go, okay, well, we're running ads, but are we actually tracking that it's pulling the right patients in or pulling patients in? And then ultimately, how are we doing at closing? And so there's two things there. This is why Jordan and I work really well together, is because we've got to make sure the marketing's working. And then we need to be making sure that we're converting them, because we can make the phone, or he can make the phone ring all day long. But if we're not training our team members well on the phones, you're not going to convert a lot of patients. So just to kind of put that in perspective.
Yeah.
So what do you see with dentists, like with this? Do you feel like they overall understand this? Do you think that they have do you have suggestions of just how they can start to make a difference and start tracking this, or thoughts on any of that?
Yeah. So, first off, I'll say that I think small businesses in general don't have a full grasp on this. I still talk to this day to businesses that say, well, how many clicks am I getting this week? And clicks on an ad are important, but they're not nearly as important as how many leads you got or how many were actually closed and came into your office. So that's really important. You have to really start to understand what's important here. Is it likes and clicks, or is it actual leads and people in our office? And my suggestion to dental office is, find that point person who can track this week to week. What I do is it's not very sexy, but I just create a spreadsheet, just a Google sheet that just says, okay, how many leads do we have coming this week? How many visitors do we have? How many did we close? And we just track that every single week. So every Monday or every Thursday, whatever day you want to track it, look at your last 7 days, see how you did, and see how you're comparing that week to week. And what makes that so powerful is if you say, okay, now we're going to try a new way to close these leads and get them to come in, and you implement that for a week, now you'll see how that impacted your numbers when you go back to that spreadsheet and you go back and you look and you say, whoa, we closed 20% more leads this week. We need to keep doing this. It allows you to kind of create those mini experiments in your business.
Right. And you said a good point here. You might be a new dentist that you don't have all the fancy software, you don't have a big marketing company, but you can start tracking this now, just to pay attention to how much incoming you have and then how well your team is doing on the phones. And a big thing of that is when you put attention on something, things usually improve.
Yep.
Your team is going to know that you're watching it, which I think is huge. And then lastly, it's to, really focus on where can we improve and fix it? You started by saying with digital marketing, we can actually see results versus the billboard. You can't see somebody driving by. Did they actually pick up the phone and call? So it's super important. Now, I would assume there's a lot more that somebody can watch and track, right? But this is just the basics of what you're suggesting to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still too much data even for me to consume in a lot of ways. There's a lot of very sophisticated tools that will show you, the gender or the demographics based on the page they landed on, and all this data that can be good and can be helpful, but is a little in the weeds. I would say from a management perspective, you really want to focus on these 3 things.
Awesome. And what we have at Front Office Rocks is Jordan has taken this into hours of training to teach you all of that, to talk about like inbound marketing and talk about your website and talk about things that you need to know. So if you're watching this and you're like, wow, I really should understand more, come to Front Office Rocks. It's part of our membership. He will go in depth on this, train yourself, train your team members, help you to work with your marketing company, or Jordan will have an availability to him if you have questions at the end. So any final thoughts for anybody watching this, Jordan?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think you made a great
Okay.
point. The best place to start is just to kind of learn a little bit about each of these areas of digital marketing, and that marketing mastery course really covers it all. So I would definitely recommend starting there. And then if you have further questions, feel free to reach out to me or, any point person that you have, then you'll be able to go to them and talk to them a little bit more educated here.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we find a lot of times we talk to dentists and they think they know, but
Mhm.
they haven't done the training. So that's really where we wanted to help. So again, subscribe to the channel here if you want to see more videos coming out. If you have questions for Jordan, let us know, write comments in here and I'll get him back on for another interview, because this is definitely something I think every dentist is looking for more new patients. So if we can start attacking your digital marketing strategy, then we're here to help. So thank you, Jordan. I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.